بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين، سيما الإمام المبين وغياث المضطر المستكين، مولانا وسيدنا وولي نعمتنا الحجة بن الحسن، فداه أرواح العالمين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله، أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بقية الله خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. Please recite aloud salawat. The story of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is truly a fascinating story of epic proportions, designed to infiltrate into the hearts of people from all walks of life. It creates this wave that we see. In every corner of the world there are majalis being held for Abu Abdullah. It creates a magnetic field that rips through time and space. And it captivates not only the minds and hearts of people that honor him, people that follow him, but he's probably the only or the most revered religious figure with clear religious affiliation that is revered by millions of people that don't adhere to his school of thought, don't adhere to his religion and the religion of his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. There was a brother from Melbourne, Australia. He said that I was introduced to Islam. Islam was very attractive to me, very captivating. But Islam to me was just a concept. I found it hard to believe that this concept can be applied and implemented until I heard the story of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And I found that all the teachings of Islam, all the principles of Islam, every virtue that you can find in the dictionary were applied by Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions. So I embraced Hussein, and through Hussein I embraced Islam. There was a Jewish lady in London. She was introduced to the raw form of Islam. She was taken by a sister, a friend of hers, to one of the majalis of Abu Abdullah during the 10 days of Muharram in London. When she saw the outpour of these emotions, coupled with the intellectual side, these two coming together create a massive force. We see just aspects of this force, this wave created during the walk, during the ziyarah of Arba'een. When she saw the emotional outpour, she said, "This completes Islam." So she reverted to the religion of Islam. Every element of intrigue, every attractive element is present in Ashura, was applied by Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. You find unconditional love. For whom? For God. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam gave away everything. When he gave away and sacrificed his own 6-month-old infant, he said, "Ilahi in kana hadha yurdik fakhudh hatta tarda." If this satisfies you, if this pleases you, then take as much as you want until you are pleased. We see devotion, dedication, sacrifice, forgiveness, love, and bravery. Let me just give you a few examples. If I wanted to talk about the bravery of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and his companions, I need to dedicate an entire lecture to talk about it. One of the reporters, by the name of Hamid ibn Muslim, he said, "Ma ra'aytu makthuran qat." I've never seen someone who has lost all his children, all his brothers, bereaved, all his companions, with a luminous face, so confident, so brave, as if he is the victor, as if he is defeating his enemies, like Hussein ibn Ali, alayhi salam. When he fell off from the back of his horse, the Imam could hardly walk, but he wasn't defeated internally. He would try to get up and walk, and he would fall again. And he would try to charge at the enemies, and the enemies dreaded the Imam. The Imam fell. He couldn't walk anymore. The Imam would talk. أَنْتَ تَقْتُلُنِي أَمْ هُ. He tells the people that approached to kill him, do you want to kill me or him, the other guy who was standing beside him? All holding daggers and swords to kill the Imam. And then out of fear, they would flee the scene. They would run away from the Imam. And when the Imam couldn't even talk, he was so weak to even talk, he would look at them in the eyes, and they would dread his look. One man says that I came to finish him off. I looked him in the eyes, and I saw the eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, the grandson of Rasulullah. Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. So I walked away. تريب المحيا إذا عاينته الكمات يختطف الرعب ألوانها. They would become pale when they see the Imam looking at them. فما أجلت الحرب عن مثله. War has never seen someone like him. صريعا يجبن شجعانها. Lying on the sand dunes of Karbala without the ability to walk or to hold a sword, but they would run away from the Imam. Everything in Ashura is unmatched. The devotion, the sacrifice, the solemn belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that enabled him to sacrifice and give everything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The level of forgiveness. The Imam, during the battle, he was able to sit on the shoulder of an enemy combatant. That man, salamun alaykum, beseeched the Imam, Ya Aba Abdullah, spare my life. Ya Aba Abdullah, leave me. These are lessons that we need to take. Our hearts are sometimes filled with grudge, filled with hate. How many times have you forgiven someone that has wronged you? This guy is an enemy combatant who raised a sword on the Imam, who wanted to kill the Imam. But then said, Ya Aba Abdullah, spare my life. Forgive me, O Hussein. The Imam left. The Imam pardoned him immediately. Or the way the Imam treated Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, who was responsible for the Imam's death. But the moment he asked for forgiveness and pardon, the Imam said, In tubt, tab Allahu alayk. All these virtues are found on the day of Ashura. But one of the most heart-wrenching features of the story of Aba Abdullah is the fact that he was a divine leader with all the qualifications to lead the ummah, to salvage the nation from tyranny, from sin, from the swamp that they were drowning in. But yet, the Imam didn't find any support, except for a handful of companions, 73, against an entire army. Based on the most conservative estimates, the people that came to fight against the Imam were 30,000. That's according to a hadith by إمام الصادق عليه السلام ازدلف على جدي الحسين 30,000 كل يتقرب إلى الله بدمه. Every one of them armed to the teeth, thirsty to shed the blood of Imam al-Hussein alayhi السلام. That's why in the story that I mentioned last night of On Ibn Ali alayhi السلام, when the Imam said to him, how could you confront an entire army? The Imam asks them this question. The Imam is determined, but he just wants to see their response so that we know their status. We know how great they were. He wanted to hear their response, and their response was mind-boggling. The man said, "Man kana badilan fika muhjatak." I don't care about an entire army. I came here to die. And the level of courageousness is unbelievable, because these were people that were about to meet their final fate. They were there to meet death, and yet they were so courageous. They were so brave. When you want to go to a job interview, you shake, you don't know what to say, you don't know how to talk. These people went to embrace death so courageously. So the guy goes to the battlefield, Awn ibn Ali. The reporter says that he was surrounded by 2,000 people, but he was able to fight, to engage with them. They ran away from him. And then he returned to the Imam while he was severely injured. He was bleeding. He came back. The Imam said to him, "Akhi, you're severely wounded," waiting for his response. He said, "Ji'tuka ya ibn Rasulillah li'atazawwada mink." I just came to see you, to look at you. This is the level of loyalty that these people displayed. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said that I've never seen loyalty like the loyalty of my companions. Throughout history, you can't find loyalty, brotherhood, like the one that was displayed on the day of Ashura by the companions of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Now, the heart-wrenching feature of the story is the fact that the Imam was all alone. He stood by the entrance of the tent and he made a plea. He said it 7 times. هل من ذاب يذب عنا? Is there anyone willing to lend a hand of support to us? هل من خائف يخاف الله فينا? Is there anyone amongst the crowd who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and comes to the rescue of the progeny of Rasulullah? Remember when the Prophet, the tribes used to come and pledge their allegiance to him and embrace Islam, they would say, "Ya Rasulullah, what do you want from us?" The Prophet used to say, "I only want one thing, to protect my family the way you protect your family." هل من خائف يخاف الله فينا? Back then the Imam was alone. All his companions, all his brothers, all his children were butchered, were killed. When the children heard the plea of Hussein, small children came out of the tent. Qasim ibn al-Hassan said, "Labbayka ya Ammah." Imam Zayn al-Abidin, who was sick, he was leaning on a stick. He said, "Labbayka ya Abba." I'm here to help you, O Aba Abdullah. The Imam refused, because you have to stay. You're the continuation of this path. But mothers, what does it take for a mother to send her 7-year-old, 9-year-old kid to support the Imam, saying, "Labbayka ya Aba Abdullah, Labbayka ya Aba Abdullah." Now, this is, when we hear this story, we sympathize with the Imam. This is truly heartbreaking, right? But there's little we can do to change history. This is something that happened in the past. So why do we come here and to listen to the story just to weep? Just to cry? No. We come here, listen to the story, and it's very inspirational. We become inspired by the story. We sympathize with the Imam. It's heart-wrenching, right? But these emotions are channeled. These emotions are there to serve a specific purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same way, He gave this opportunity to the people of Kufa. And remember that the people of Kufa, because of the tyranny of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, he said, each and every one of you, every man needs to join the ranks of Umar ibn Sa'd. The people that were in prison were in prison. The people that were killed were killed. The city of Kufa became empty. became empty. I don't know how many people were in the city of Kufa, but according to rough estimates, they were in the millions. That's why people say that the army that came to fight the Imam, the 30,000 that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam speaks about, were the people that were in the battlefield. Otherwise, Lady Zainab, later on, when she gave a sermon in Kufa, she said, Alhamdulillah, that my brother Hussein made every household grieve at the death of one of their loved ones, one of the soldiers that participated in the war. I don't know how many Imam al-Hussein killed of the enemy combatants, but according to Lady Zainab, every household, every house, there were people crying for the death of one of the soldiers that took part in that war. Now, we need to channel these emotions because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an opportunity to support someone. Who? When? How? Why? See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just. Let me give you an example of God's justice. Before, maybe in the past, to become a billionaire, it was literally impossible. You need to have a capital to invest that money. You need to inherit from your father to be able to invest that money and become a billionaire. But nowadays, these big companies like Amazon, Uber, eBay, Alibaba, these big companies, you know what they dread? You know what they dread? They say that we need to invest millions, if not billions of dollars just to stay competitive. And they say that what we fear is innovative ideas. Innovative ideas. They say that there are a lot of liquidity, a lot of cash out there. Banks, billionaires that are willing to back people with innovative ideas. You create an app like Uber. How did Uber start? The two founders of Uber were in Paris. They wanted a taxi, couldn't find a taxi in the middle of the night, so one of them thought that why not make every driver that wants to taxi, we give them the opportunity to work. And this is how they created this idea. It's the biggest taxi company and yet they don't own any car. So all is required from someone to become a billionaire today is to come up with an innovative idea. Invent something, create an app. You have the millions waiting for you, millions of dollars waiting for this idea to emerge. They would back it up, they would give you the money, they would invest, and overnight you become a billionaire, even if you're young. The founders of Uber, people were in their 30s. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this opportunity, equal opportunity to everyone. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the opportunity to serve, the opportunity to give our support to the Imam of our time. The person that carries the standard of Hussein alayhi salam. The man that is the heir of Abu Abdullah. The man that carries the knowledge of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. That's why when you lament, when you cry, when you sob, you're preparing yourselves for the second chapter of this book. Because the story of Ashura didn't end on the day of Ashura. It started on the day of Ashura. The last chapter of this story, the last chapter of this book is when the Imam of our time reappears. And his slogan is Ya li tharat al-Hussein. I came to avenge the blood of Abu Abdullah because the wound is still fresh. And in every season in Muharram, this wound is opened again. It never healed, but it's open again. So we commemorate Abu Abdullah. That's why when you recite Ziyarat Ashura, you recite the entire ziyarah. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that you should recite the ziyarah every day. It's not exclusive to the day of Ashura. When you recite the ziyarah, you say, oh God, give me, reward me, give me the thawab. Then say, give me the opportunity مع إمام مهدي ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. But unfortunately, what we're doing today is similar to what the people of Kufa did back then. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, on his way to Karbala, he stopped in a city called Zubalah. He stopped there and he gave a sermon. reading the sermon from a piece of paper, according to reporters. He received the message of the killing of Hani ibn Urwa and Muslim ibn Aqil. So he informed his companions so that they wouldn't be deceived. I'm not going to the city of Kufa to rule. I don't have supporters over there. That's why the majority of people that came with him, they left the Imam. Except the people that followed him in Mecca, the dedicated ones. So the Imam read the sermon from a piece of paper. He just read this statement. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma ba'd. فَلَقَدْ خَذَلَنَا شِيعَتُنَا. My Shia, my followers have failed me. They have abandoned me. And this is what we've done to the Imam of our time. He is the son of Fatima. How much do you know about the Imam of your time? My sole duty is to invite you to the religion of God. Man da'a ila Allah. And my second duty is to inform you of the duty of the Imam of your time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to Moses. He says, Ya Musa, if you guide someone to the right path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the reward of someone who has prayed and worshipped and did sujood and ruku' for 1 whole year, staying awake the entire night and fasting during the day. So Musa alayhi salam says, and how can I guide people to the right path? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him that you should guide them to the Imam of your time. The hadith says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala subjected every nation to trials, tribulations and tragedies so that they couldn't find a solution to their problems, so that they would seek a solution from the medium between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and us, who is the Imam of our time. We should show some appreciation. Everything that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the na'am, all the blessings, comes through the Imam of our time. You have to show some appreciation. You have to preoccupy yourself with the presence of the Imam of our time, because he's alive. And there are 2 ways to prove his existence. One is through research. You go and examine the ahadith that were narrated by the Prophet, who said unequivocally that this earth always needs a proof, always needs a medium. And man mata wa lam ya'rif imam zamanihi mata mitatan jahiliya. And the other way is to beseech him, is to talk to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. There are people in this world that are informed of everything that you do. I'm sure it's not me. I'm sure it's not the maraja'. But there are people. Who are these people? These people are the Imams. But the Imam that is living today is the Imam of our time. We should understand his role. We should know more about him. We should think about him. Then the hadith says, and I'll conclude the speech, the hadith says that whoever wants to be prepared to support the Imam when he reappears. Habib ibn Mudahir, he used to follow the Imam when he was a child, a little kid. And he would take from the dust under the feet of the Imam and pour it on his head. He was fully prepared. That's why when he received the letter of Abu Abdullah, he said to his wife, look, I'm leaving you. I'm going to Karbala, joining Abu Abdullah. He was fully prepared. The hadith says that whoever wants to be a supporter of Imam al-Zaman when he reappears is in need of 3 things. The first thing is al-intidhar. You should be fully prepared. You should wait for his reappearance. And by waiting, I don't mean just stay there, not doing anything. No. You should always think about the Imam and do what you need to do and acquire the qualifications that I talked about last night. Knowing about this world, losing interest in this world, having absolute faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in His promises. Trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and go against your desires. These are some of the things that I mentioned. last night. So this is the first thing, al-intidhar. Number 2, al-wara'. You need to be pious. You know, when you think about the loyalty of the companions of Imam al-Hussein, how great was Al-Abbas. I only wish if I was there to be like Abbas ibn Ali, to be like Zuhair ibn al-Qayn, to be like Muslim ibn Awsaja. You know what it takes to be with Hussein? You need to be a God-fearing person. You need to be pious and not fall in the pit of sin whenever an opportunity rises. Al-wara', that's what you need. That's what enabled the companions of Imam al-Hussein to be with him. And number 3, وَحُسْنُ الْخُلْقِ. You should treat people with kindness. That's what you need. These 3 things will enable you to be in the ranks of Imam al-Zaman, عَجَّلَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فَرَجَهُ الشَّرِيفِ, when he reappears. Now look at how the Imam describes the final moment of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The Imam of our time. He says that not a single day passes that I don't remember you. لأبكينك صباحا ومساء. Every morning and every night. And look at the description that he gives. حتى نكسوك عن جوادك. When the Imam, although he was alone, all his companions were killed, all his children were killed, but because he was on the back of his horse, he was in charge. That gave confidence to the women and children that were in the tent. They see that they were not defeated. Until the Imam fell from the back of his horse. The horse started to neigh, to make noises. So the enemies that were surrounding the Imam, that wanted to kill the Imam, they wanted to fight, they wanted to kill that horse. But Umar ibn Sa'd said, leave that horse. فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ خِيَارِ جِيَادِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. It's a genuine Arabian horse that belongs to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Let's see what the horse does. So after pushing all the enemies away, the horse pushed all the enemies away from Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, who was lying on the sand dunes of Karbala. He came to the Imam. He wanted to carry the Imam, but it's a horse. The horse can't carry a corpse, can't carry Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He started to dye his head with the blood of Abu Abdullah. But then the horse realized that it couldn't do anything. It can't save the Imam. So the best thing is to go back to the tent. Went back to the tent. The women and children realized that the saddle of the horse is twisted. And the horse doesn't have a rider. Meaning that the Imam has fallen from the back of his horse. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَا النِّسَاءَ جَوَادَكَ مَخْزِيًّا وَالسَّرْجَ عَلَيْهِ مَلْوِيًّا خَرَجْنَ مِنَ الْخُدُورِ. They came out of the tent hysterically. عَلَى الْخُدُودِ لَاطِمَاتٍ يَا أَبَا عَبْدِ اللَّهِ يَا ابْنَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. وصل اللهم على محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.